So, as you all know, I have said multiple times, Kimmy Badnock is going to win this contest, and it is true. Like, you just do not understand just like how much the Conservative membership, not the MPs, but the membership who are going to be voting in this contest, really want Kimmy Badnock. You know, I've been over those comments that she made during the Conservative Party conference. While those may have gone down really badly with, like, the rest of, the British voting public, meanwhile, the Tory membership crowd, who she's really wanting to catch her at this moment, turn around and went, been waiting for someone to say that for years. Oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't she going to be the next Margaret Thatcher? And yes, that is what Kimmy Badnock supporters really do believe, that she is going to be the next Margaret Thatcher. And we've been over this, I don't know how many times, but Kimmy Badnock does not have a single bit of political acumen, intelligence, even close to Margaret Thatcher. But we're not talking, of course, about Kimmy Badnock today, because honestly, at the moment, the big story coming out has to be, and most of them are around, Robert Jenrick. And this is the other right-wing candidate that is being run in this contest. And if somehow he wins, from the stuff that he has been saying from the past 24, 48 hours, this will lead to full-scale internal Tory party civil war that could very well even lead to a split in the Tory party. So, before we get more into that, please do remember to click on the like, share, and of course the subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course there's the Pony Club down below as well. And of course, you can leave a super thanks as well. So, let's crack on then into this. But first of all, who is Robert Jenrick? Well, by all accounts, this was someone who came in as a very centrist MP. There's even video now surfaced just today of him making a very impassioned plea for remaining in the single market and customs union, and even being a very passionate Remainer. We're starting to remind you of a certain other pork market pleading individual. But on to Jenrick. So Jenrick's rise went on to be the Minister for Homes. He was sort of the guy in charge of house building. And unfortunately for him, or maybe not, he got included in a massive scandal that he may have taken a bit of a bribe to, shall we say, see through a donor's investment that he was wanted to build, and getting the planning permission for all of this. So what happened was that Robert Jenrick, rising star again in the Conservative Party. It's amazing how many of these rising stars in the Conservative Party have like dramatic falls, but he was cast away out into the backbenchers, and then didn't really return until the days of Rishi Sunak. He was very much a backbencher for a long time in sort of the political wilderness, but during that time, he seems to have taken a road to Damascus moment where he has now become a true blue Brexit believer, but also is now really carrying the right-wing flag. Like, he is all for these right-wing policies. Whether he actually believes in these right-wing policies, we'll get into that in a moment. But that is where he comes in. He comes in, of course, as the Deputy Minister for sort of immigration, of course, gets really annoyed that the Rwanda plan and that the immigration promises that have been made to right-wing MPs aren't being fulfilled. So, of course, he quits. And it sort of makes him almost this bit of a right-wing darling in many cases. And this is what leads him to becoming, or at least now standing in the leadership contest, that this is Robert Jenrick. He is going to stand for like the Tory right. He is going to be their flag waver. However, now that he is in the final two, a lot of those Tories on the right are becoming very, very worried that Jenrick isn't as right wing as he claimed, that he may have even been a plant by the One Nation Tory centrists. This is what they're saying at the moment, that he may have even been a plant by the right wing Tory centrists to essentially bring back the Tories to the center ground, because this guy came in as a Cameroon. He was in that section of the party. He was their, rising star. He was their guy for a long time. So why would this guy suddenly become, like this? Well, mostly it's because during the Tory party conference, some of Jenrick's supporters were saying, don't worry about all that right-wing stuff, because once he wins, he'll throttle back on it. Don't worry about it. He'll throttle back. He'll be less calm about it. He's just doing it to get those right-wing votes. Now, of course, if you're a right-wing MP and you have elected Jenrick for that mandate and that type of stuff, what happens when you do that? Well, of course, you're going to be incredibly annoyed. So if Jenrick is really this Manchurian centrist Tory candidate, then what's going to happen is he's going to piss off the right. They're going to be incredibly annoyed at him. And guess what? It's Tory party civil war time. but this is where things get even more interesting, because as I said earlier in the beginning of the video, in the past 48 hours, Jenrick has been saying a lot of stuff which I believe would lead to an even worse civil war. So it starts off with him saying and coming out, don't worry, I am as right wing as they come. I am so right wing, and basically trying to flout his credentials as to how right wing he is. And of course, this brings up the talk of we are going to immediately leave the European Court of Human Rights. We're going to immediately leave, no ifs, ands, or buts. But he then goes even further and says that no Tory who does not believe that will serve in his shadow cabinet. So that immediately starts ringing a lot of alarm bells with a lot of the Tory MP centrists. Goes even further just recently and has said any Tory MP who disagrees with it, starts speaking out against that, or even would vote against that, they're out of the party. So now he's threatening to cull essentially the remaining centrists in the party. And then just a couple of hours ago, he's now come out and said he is going to make Jacob Rees-Mogg Tory party chairman if he wins. Which will massively play to that Tory crowd, because if there's one person apart from Boris Johnson and Kimmy Badenoch that they love, it's Jacob Rees-Mogg. Go figure. But there you go. So that is the situation that could happen here. That if Jenrick wins, he's going to do all these things that would not just annoy like the centrists. The centrists would not just put pressure on him and try and trip him up at every chance they get. They would be looking for every chance they get to do a classic defenestration and remove him from his position as quickly as possible. But Jenrick has said, I'm going to fight back against that. I will get rid of anyone who starts acting like that. And then if he really sort of pushes hard on this right-wing slant and this trajectory, which, again, being powered apparently by Suella Braverman, I know, out of nowhere, here comes Suella Braverman, because she has been pulling strings behind the scenes to make sure that Jenrick has to rely on right-wing MPs for all the support if he becomes leader, that there is going to be that rightward push by him and the rest of the party. And that if anyone doesn't get on board, well, guess what? They're gone. Which is going to lead to a massive internal Tory party civil war. It could lead to a split of the Tory party. You may very well see some Tories go join the Lib Dems. But if Jenrick wins, it's all bets are off. You know, all bets are off. It is going to be a huge Tory party civil war. In fact, it is like the best of all outcomes, I think, and I would say. So, in a way, even though I know he's not going to win, if he does somehow win, oh boy, Jenrick is going to have a massive Tory party civil war in his hands if he starts going to do and following through on all these things. And if he doesn't, well, then he annoys the right, and there's going to be a Tory civil war anyway. So, it's a win-win situation for me, and, for making content about that. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all those people who help and support the channel, and we'll see you all next time.